And personally, I don't think that they would have made it in. But we are in picks to ban, so we won't be able to burn any bridges there.
Yeah, so Kale, Braum, really standard bans. I think that both Kale and Braum have been banned in all 3 sets. And interestingly enough, I think Kale has been banned on blue side twice. So I was correct. My memory did serve me correctly. AcFun is on the blue side, and they have a lot of avenues they can go. It really, I mean, who they get for their first pick is really, really important right here. Evelyn is banned by AcFun.
A lot of priority picks still left on the board. I feel like this pick and ban phase is pretty standard. We did see the Evelyn pick come out the first game, was bypassed the second game around. We'll see if we see any other jungler picks. Lee Sin was also targeted in the past. Jarvan has shown up back-to-back. 2 mixed success. I think he's actually split, but there is that Ziggs ban.
Interestingly, the Ziggs ban comes from NCT's AcFun. I mean, we've seen this behavior before, where these players know that the enemy is very good at these champions, and Orianna is locked in for AcFun. And this is one of the reasons why I believe HanGong Club actually banned Orianna when they were in the first pick side, because they knew that there was another priority open, and that NCT would consider, very much consider playing that Orianna. However, should HanGong Club be able to lock in a Leona Jarvan 4 combination for themselves, then that is a very nice constellation prize. Despite the fact that a lot of priorities are still on the board. Lee Sin is still on the board, Elise is still on the board, champions like TF are still on the board, Rengar is still on the board, the 4.10 Rengar as well, so he's pretty strong right now.
I like the vision from AcFun to deny Ziggs and then pick up Orianna in the first rotation. They're pretty much the 2 anti-siege utility, I'm not going to call them utility mages, but AoE mages of the mid lane. And like you said, that insta-lock on the Leona for Shine there, looks like it is going to be a Gragas top. Again, Minoko. That's his 3rd Gragas? No, he played Shyvana the first game. Oh
yeah,
no, he did play Gragas.
No, Minoko, this is Minoko's 3rd Gragas game, because he played Gragas all 3 times against the Shyvana, against the Jax, and now it appears we don't see the top lane pick yet. I don't think it will be. We'll be locking in Quinn.
You don't think it's going to be top Quinn?
One can dream. Okay, so the Syndra is a good pick right here. Syndra does very, very well against Orianna, and that was the problem, right? Because we even though, and one of the things that you and I were discussing, Frosker, in the before the pick and ban phase started, was that one of the reasons why mid laners are taken in the 2nd and 3rd round are because usually first you want to reserve your priority picks for yourself, right? Secondly, you also want to make sure you don't show your mid lane pick too early and leave yourself vulnerable to hard counter picks. Syndra is a very hard counter pick right now. So, we discussed whether these teams would be able to run different styles. It seems like both HanGong Club and AcFun are going for champions that scale well throughout the entire game. Orianna does fantastically in the late game. I mean, in basically all stages of the game. Corki is a little bit more of an early game champion, but the damage output from the Rengar, from the Gragas offset that, and the same thing kind of goes for HanGong Club. I mean, they'll have a fantastic teamfight composition if they decide to lock in this Shyvana for Suda, and Suda has previously played very well in Shyvana. I think it's a good decision not to go for the Jax, not to leave yourself vulnerable to early game plays with the Jax, and instead go for a much safer Shyvana pick, something that Suda has won on before, and I think HanGong Club actually have placed themselves in a very strong position to win this game.
So don't have the ball delivery service this time on Elise or Shyvana due to that Orianna being picked up by NCT here. A lot of AoE coming out from AcFun here. You have the Cask, the Shockwave, of course Corki with his Gatling gun, big rockets, mixed damage, and of course the Zyra Stranglethorn. So
yeah, I mean,
it's a very wombo combo team composition.
Yeah, I mean, if you communicate well, you can use the Rengar while he's on the hunt as your quote-unquote
submarine engagement?
Yeah, submarine engagement. But again, I think more than that, both of these teams have fantastic team fighting comps. AcFun this time has the composition that, both of these compositions, like, the ramp up times are very clear. Whereas the Rengar and the Orianna take a little more time to do damage. You have the Corki who does fantastically in the early game. Corki does really, really well. Also, when you pick Corki and then an aggressive support like who did AcFun pick on the support?
It's Leona and Zyra.
Yeah, it was Wait, sorry, what?
It's Zyra.
Oh, Zyra.
AcFun,
Yeah, it's Zyra on
AcFun.
AcFun. Yeah, so usually when you have the Corki, it means that you intend to 2v1 and then eventually leave your AD carry alone with, I suppose who would be Suda's Shyvana. The only thing is that Shine's ganks on Zyra won't be the best, so it might be worth just AcFun setting up for the 2v2 right here. And I don't think the members of HanGong Club will be will abhor that change.
We'll see indeed, but we are on the Rift. It is going to be AcFun, this time on the blue side, HanGong Club on the red side, and it is going to be a 5-man engage.
Nice.
Shooter walks into all of them, flashes the wall, misses the grasping root, so he is going to burn out of that. Very close, loses the summoner, but not his life, and definitely in the 4-point tin changes, that would have burned a little bit more since First Blood has been changed.
Yeah, and I mean, really, first of all, really nice flash.
4.11 patches.
I have no idea. But then that would have been, that was a really, really nice flash coming out from Suda. Good for him, good of him, and just to, be careful enough to know that the enemy might be waiting the brush and decide to flash there, even though he probably should have put his trinket there. And that's, and that also showed one of the weaknesses. I mentioned before how Shine couldn't, the reason why AcFun should maybe consider going for 2v2 lanes is because Shine couldn't roam effectively, is because the missile speed, and we see another fight here, and it looks like it's going to be that's going to be the flash out of the Rengar out of EM. But the reason why Zyra's ganks aren't effective is just because the missile speed on her grasping roots is so slow. It's so slow and easy to dodge. So
looks like it is going to be a red buff contest. Both sides of the map just going to trade off these buffs. Shine and BML are in the scene, and EM is
AcFun is going top actually. This is
He
interesting.
is spotted out through wards, so they do know that there's danger there. He is locked up with the grasping roots. Shane CC is going to have to burn his flash there. Minoko didn't quite get the knock-up, it looked like, or maybe this is a perfectly timed flash, relentless pursuit, but Victor is going to, BML is going to walk away with his life. Victor this time around on the Corki.
Okay, yeah, so nice job from the members of AcFun potentially securing themselves a 3-buff start. The only thing that's awkward about the situation is that it doesn't look like, I'm gonna have to check his buffs, but it doesn't, I thought that
Crow got his red buff. It'll be a 2-buff start, I believe.
Oh, it'll be a 2-buff.
Yeah,
it'll
Crow
be a
just
2-buff
didn't
start.
clear
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I thought for some reason EM didn't clear his own red buff. So,
does have the double buff. He's actually not looking for a tower. I was gonna say that would be really sketchy. He's going to go ahead and pull these mini goals. We see this very often. The line of scrimmage when the actually it's a 2v2 in the top lane. I was gonna say the line of scrimmage has kind of changed in the current meta, where it's more of like horizontal as opposed to vertical. Vertical.
Yeah, and I mean,
horizontal.
Yeah, and this is an educated decision by the members of AcFun. They saw, with the, and that's how they were obviously able to get the grasping roots onto BML. They saw the dual lane at the top lane, yet they still, the AcFun's dual lane decided to remain there. And it looks like, HanGong Club starting out very well, getting full control of this full control of the enemy jungle. Sorry. And I think additionally CK is going to do very well against NCT, despite the fact that they're still even in CS.
Very easy to walk in to take whatever he wants. Crow, of course, taking those Wraith Camp due to the fact that Syndra is in that mid lane. We talk about how Syndra, very tough matchup for Ori. Meanwhile, the top lane, it's not looking at it, but Victor's actually very low. Is on the very back, has about 10% HP to his name. Don't know if he got a little frisky with Y there, but suffered and lost both of his summoners, Flash and Heal down for that Corki in the top lane.
Yeah. Additionally, Y burned. BML. I think he actually lost. I think BML lost his flash and heal in the catch that at the red buff we saw about 2 minutes ago. But you do see that Y burned his flash and his ignite. So obviously the bottom lane, the support of HanGong Club thought he could make a play, and it's still a win because Victor, right, and Victor escapes with just a little bit of health. The thing is, though, is that when Corki hits level 3, he usually gets the it's not missile barrage, but it's that long. Yeah, no, not the Gatling gun. His escape. Sorry.
Oh, Valkyrie.
Yeah, he usually gets his Valkyrie, and Valkyrie is usually a very reliable escape, despite how slow the animation is. So I don't think especially if AcFun decide to freeze this lane right here, I don't think that losing his flash and heal will be that huge of a problem for Victor.
A lot of time wasted from HanGong Club right here, sitting in that bush trying to find a little bit of a cheeky fanatic move. So jungle time wasted, still relatively even on the CS across the board, 17 to 13 in that jungle, 36 to 43 in that mid lane. Slight advantage being taken by Syndra, but I believe the wave is pushed into Orianna, so probably a little bit closer than first realized. And of course, NCT is just waiting on Orianna's a level dependent champion. She just needs those points into those abilities before she can start clearing those waves quite effectively.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking all even so far. It's obvious how much both Crow and EM value this bottom lane and value the fortunes of their bottom lane more specifically, because all throughout the series, both EM and Crow on completely different champions as well have been looking to make plays in the bottom lane. And I think so far EM has been a little bit more successful in that department with that Jarvan 4, especially last game. His Jarvan 4 was fantastic. So whoever makes the first place here will really be able to take control of the map, especially since both of these compositions do well in the early game, and I think both of these teams will be looking to skirmish around the 15-minute mark.
A lot of kill potential in all of these lanes as well. You have pretty much hard CC in every lane except for that Shyvana lane in the bottom. Victor has to be very careful right now. It looks like Y is looking for the engagement with the Zenith Blade. Does find it onto Shine. Damage will be procced. It is huge. Half health, some counters with the grass movement and blows his flash. Survives with his life, but I was pretty scary for a second there. About 10% of his health left.
Yeah, really nice Zenith Blade from Y to completely burst down Shine. So Shine's not going to have that large presence in lane. Fortunately for the side of AcFun, I think that their lane is going to push just under their turret, so Victor, will be able to see us quite comfortably.
Is doing a good job, 43 to 46. So has a
yeah, definitely.
Look at the pickaxe start from BML here.
Yeah, I mean, when you went to get he's obviously building to an Infinity Edge, and pickaxe is never it's not a bad item. It gives you a lot of early damage. The thing that's most surprising to me, though, about this game is that in the first game we saw Suda play Shyvana and AcFun's top laner Minoko played Gragas, and at this point I think Suda had more CS on the Shyvana than Minoko's Gragas did, so it's interesting to see those CS... Oh, no. Yeah, it's... Suda cleared the wave again, so... I mean, Suda obviously is very familiar in this matchup, and he's able to keep up a high level of play, despite the fact that it seems like for some reason, and it might be... and we see a gank here.
The shockwave goes down into CK. There's the flag inject for the counter engagement. Crow trying to make something happen, but CK flashed out, and here's the Dragon Descent. Completely whiffs everything. Good attempt from Suda there to try to make a 2v2 into a 3v2, but fortunately no first blood yet. Everyone walks away with their lives.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the members of AcFun, and it looks like the duo lane coming out of HanGong Club is going to recall and try to meet up with AcFun's bottom lane again, and Minoko interrupting them right here. But it looks like AcFun really does want to avoid the members of HanGong Club, and that's why they tried to initiate a lane switch and hoped that either HanGong Club's bottom lane would lose a lot of minion experience or just wouldn't bother following them. But it looks like the dual lane is going to stick to AcFun's bottom lane like dogs, and the Lucian-Leona combination is actually posturing towards the middle lane, so this might be another adaptation, yeah.
They were going to follow up, but I think Suda made the call, you know, I'm already here, my teleport. I guess his teleport is up, so he could have gone for it. I guess it looks like they are going to let the 2v1 slide. Obviously, Victor wanted to cruise through lane phase, get his level 6. Corgi doesn't really see a power spec early game until he has that missile barrage rocket.
Yeah, definitely. Missile barrage.
Between us, we should know all of the abilities.
Yeah, I know. I'm really bad at this.
I just don't know the names of them. I can always be like, oh, Gragas comes in with his W, it's da-da-da, but... Or I guess he takes a drink of his W.
Come on, man. You're a play-by-play caster. It is missile barrage.
Yeah.
So, BML, you know, everyone's sharing some nice experience. I mean, and interestingly enough, despite the fact that the members of AcFun had their dual lane in the bottom lane, it looks like that HanGong Club is going to take the first dragon. Again, yeah, we said that, and I don't think, is Minoko going to be able to make a play?
He does have the cast, gets the belly bop for the knockup, burns the dragon descent to completely avoid the cast, so...
Yeah, and, you know, and Suda didn't have to burn any summoners as well, so that was really well played. But interestingly enough, you know, we mentioned that, you know, we mentioned that we would have to, for HanGong Club to win this game, we would have to see a small identity shift. So far in the set, they've been playing really late game skilling team compositions, but you know, now they have another really nice, just mid-game power spike team, and they have the Shyvana Jarvan 4. You know, CK Syndra's going to do well in the mid-game, so they have all the team fighting tools right now, and I think this is a return of the old aggressive HanGong Club that we saw in Game 1, and the return of the team that beat AcFun so decisively.
We'll see if they can get their aggression off the ground. So far, pretty uncharacteristic. An 11-minute, coming onto a 12-minute game with no first blood. I don't think I've seen a Chinese game in a very long time that this has been this stalemated. Not that we haven't had a lot of contention and heads-to-heads go down, but it hasn't really panned out for either side. Victor now left alone in this bot lane with Suda to get some solo EXP and freeform, still behind BML, 83 to 90.
Yeah, and it looks like just because of the early dragon that HanGong Club was able to get, as well as some of the early lane pressure, it looks like HanGong Club is up approximately 1,000 gold, you know, exactly like 800 gold, and they're looking very comfortable right now, I think, and WY barely misses the Zenith Blade to go onto Minoko.
I feel like both teams have the pressure on that if we lose here, we're completely out. This is a sudden death tournament. There's no losers bracket, and so they're being very cautious with their engagements. Don't want to give up the last game of the series with kind of a foolish, overzealous, hard engage.
Right, and but the thing is though that when people sometimes say they're being cautious, there's the idea, and we might see a dive right here, which would not be cautious at all. But when people say their players are playing cautiously, especially in the Chinese metagame, that at times means that the players are playing too safely or not taking enough risks. I actually think that the HanGong Club, you know, AcFun as well, but to a larger extent, HanGong Club are making a lot of really smart and calculated map movements right now and are reading the members of AcFun like a book. So all props to them for basically, you know, trying to win this early game and trying to grab every advantage they can in order to really prepare for that 15-minute skirmish. I mean, you know, Suda and Minoko both have their teleports up. I expect their teleports up will still be up at around the 15-minute mark, and that's where you're going to see the first big fight go down.
Definitely Suda being in time there to take over control of that top lane now that the tower has been pressured down. The bot lane of HanGong Club now making their way back to their corresponding lane, looking for another tower objective pickup, and again, coming on 14 minutes in this game, still no first blood, 17k to 18.5, so a nice 1.5k advantage. Just, I mean, really, it's just in structures and CS advantages.
Yeah, and I mean, but that's all you really need. You know, I think HanGong Club is playing like AcFun did last game. If you know when your power spike is, there's no need to desperately search for kills or like, you know, turret objectives. All you need to do is make sure that you secure your own buffs. You take the appropriate steps to apply pressure to different places around the map, which usually means for the Chinese team, that usually means the enemy buffs and have those warded up. And as long as you do that, then you'll be completely fine by the time you get to the mid game. So, again, I think HanGong Club, just with some of the early advantages they've got here and the way they played the map, they've been very smart about it. So I'm pretty excited to see what they bring in this next team fight, especially if Crow is able to pull off a nice counter gank onto the side of AcFun.
Like you said, Crow is there for the counter gank. Looks like it's Minoko that disconnected. I'm sure they're getting him in. I believe the Demacia Cup is an online tournament, so they're not in the studio with them like the LSPL, like the LPL, so see a little bit more connection issues. Although we had some problematic connection issues the last week. It wasn't this week, it was the week before in the LPL. I believe there were like 20-minute pauses. It was ridiculous. But speaking of the game on hand, we did see that Crow was in the bottom lane looking for that gank, but EM on the Rengar was also in the area.
Yeah, and so both junglers were in the area. I think that the jungler for HanGong Club, whose name is Crow, right? He understood, and again, this goes back to the really nice map movements coming out from the entirety of the HanGong Club roster right now. I think that Crow understood that, that just because of how tense the bottom lane situation was, and again, we do understand that Chinese junglers love to camp the bottom lane. This has been true since the last split of the LPL. He understood that EM might have just reached a power spike on his Rengar and might want to come assert his dominance in the bottom lane. So it's really good on him for, first of all, checking the two brushes. One brush had a pink ward, the other brush he used a sweeper on, and making sure that he was in really prime position to pull a potential gank or dive off.
So with this vision, Suda does know that there are two members of AcFun that are on the top side of the map, so when he steals the blue buff! Wow! With a nicely placed E, completely takes that off of NC2's
Nice
Orianna.
job. Nice job.
What a scumbag move, but with that vision, he does know that this is a 3v2, that the mid laner will not be making a rotation before their own, so if they want to go through with this tower dive, Orianna's not in position.
Yeah, I mean, just, again, really good map movements coming out. I can't believe he did that with a Dragon's Breath. But, again, the lanes are getting reset. This dragon is coming up in about 45 seconds, and both of these top laners have their teleport, unless they want to go back and buy right now and then burn the teleport early so that they can have a nice lane position. If BML and so it doesn't look like BML and WY are going to risk taking damage at this turret. Instead, it looks like Y is going to put a few wards around, make sure they have sufficient vision control of the dragon pit, and I think that at the 20-second, at the 10-second mark, the 10-second dragon spawn mark, BML and Y, as well as CK and Crow, are going to rotate towards this dragon pit and try to get that objective, because right now, dragon is so important for the hopes of HanGong Club's chances of getting past what many people call the superior AcFun team.
Definitely. Map kind of stagnating out right now. Like you said, we are waiting on that dragon. It has spawned, so big plays, big contestation should be over at that point. It could be another free dragon. I feel like we've seen a lot of free dragons just given away. No contestation, just teams kind of being out of position. So hopefully this time these mid power spike teams will look for the 5v5 and try to find a gold swing and a power swing.
Yeah, the dragon is live right now, so you do have to wonder when the teams are going to go for that. And I know I keep harping about the dragon, but really, there aren't a lot of other objectives for these two teams to contest right now. And if HanGong Club was to continue their run of really smart decisions, then at least after Crow does this white, he should be heading towards the dragon.
Hold up, because the teleport is burned, and Rengar trying to go in with the stealth is completely knocked back by a nicely placed Cinder Stun. And Jarvan goes in. The Rengar does secure the objective, those Strangle Thrones on the back. Another teleport from Suda. AcFun is completely split up. HanGong Club in the middle of everything, just picking up kills left and right. There's 1, 2, and 3. down for AcFun. The last two members on the run here. Suda and Y looking for blood though. CK pushing the wave. It might mean a free tower.
Unfortunately for me, I can't see anything because my stream lagged, and I just saw it again. So unfortunately, I missed the dragon fight. But I assume that Suda was able to clean up, and because of the kill and assist, he was able to grab. And again, we said that HanGong Club needed to make some moves, and now they're 2,000 gold ahead at 18 minutes. So HanGong Club is in a very nice position right now. Additionally, they know where that pink ward is. They can go sweep it out later. BML is in a very strong position right now. I don't think that. So I don't think that Victor's going to get back into lane soon enough, so they're going to be able to take down this turret, which means, a turret and a dragon, as well as a few kills. I believe that was 1 to 3 in kills, right? So a whole bunch of gold swinging in favor on the side of HanGong Club. They're looking really strong right now.
Fortunately, though, AcFun, EM did manage to get the dragon steal, so yes, they do pick up the global gold of the tower, as well as the 3 kills, some kill gold, but global gold of the dragon did go over to AcFun, keeps them a little bit in this game, 25k now to 27k, so a little bit of breathing room for HanGong Club as AcFun looks to pressure and trade 1-for-1 on this bot tier tower, but the wave clear alone from Jarvan and Leona is enough to deter them.
Right, and then, these guys are looking really good right now. So, again, we have to think about power spikes. Both AcFun and HanGong Club probably feel fairly comfortable in terms of, where their champions are, where their champions do well. I think both AcFun and HanGong Club are feeling fairly well at this point of the game right now. Obviously, HanGong Club does have the 2k gold lead at 19.5 minutes. That's soon going to be 3k, I believe. And it's really just a matter of HanGong Club, playing to their strengths. They have pretty good wave clear. They have really good siege. Nice team fight, a lot of tankiness. They could demand any fight that they want to, even at this early stage of the game. So as long as HanGong Club remains calm and then makes the correct movements around the map, controls vision well, doesn't allow NCT to farm his own wolves, takes all the turrets, then HanGong Club is going to look very strong right now. And the ending to this game should be relatively simple.
Definitely. And HanGong Club taking what they want right now are going to take this mid tower, but here comes the cast from behind. Minoko gets immediately Syndra ulted, getting out with his life, but no! BML comes across and picks it up with a double tap. It is now Victor facing off, blows up Lucian, and is now locked up by Leona, turning the aggression back on, though, as Y starts to clear the area. AcFun coming out in a 1-for-1 trade. Gragas for Lucian here.
Yeah, you see the tons of damage, literally, that Corki does at this point in the game, and I do think that... Yeah, so EM was actually able to smite away the blue buff, so, thank you very much for leashing that.
Blue buff on Rengar, but unfortunately, NCT has been denied this blue buff, I believe, twice. So, he right now has the blue buff that he took off of, I want to say it's a body, because he's been denied his own blue buff twice, but he's had blue for consistently the last 7 minutes.
So he might have taken it off.
Yeah, there's 3 blue buffs on the field right now. There's one on both mid laners and the jungler.
Okay, that's interesting. So the thing is that that just goes to show you how strong Corki is. Obviously, before.
It has to be a visual glitch, actually.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking.
He's 0-2.
Because I went over. They just showed the mini bar for Oriana on the side and didn't show that he had the blue buff. So I think that is a glitch. Okay, so besides that, it does show how strong Corki is right at this moment in the game. Like, he was able to go in, just deal so much damage and completely wipe BML off the map. Unfortunately for the side, as AcFun is barely going to be able to save this turret right here. Unfortunately for the side of AcFun, that statement about Corki is not going to be true for very much longer, especially as the tanks of HanGong Club, itemize for both damage and magic resist. So, this game is only going to get harder for AcFun, and they have to make some moves right now. But unfortunately for them, HanGong Club is pretty, has solid retention of the lead right now.
And speaking of harder, Minoko felt the hardness of Suda up there in that top lane. Thought he was going to go and make a little trade, came out actually behind, is able to lifesteal back up with his drink, and now bringing 3 members here. Are split out by wards, so Suda's just going to back out with his burnout, but definitely is requiring a little bit of help to deal with this dragon at the point. 183 to 195. Suda does have the Blade of the Rune complete, so he can pretty much effectively shred through Minoko's excess health and tankiness.
Yeah, and I think AcFun also understands that they can't fight, the members of HanGong Club right now unless they get a good, pick in the jungle, and that's what they're doing. They're warding their own side of the jungle because they know that the members of HanGong Club are going to frequent those areas, and they also might be trying to set up a pick around Dragon, especially since they know that the members of HanGong Club think that they have a very free Dragon objective right now, and they should, as long as they don't mess up the control of their vision, or Pro doesn't mess up his smite, yeah.
Because Suda demanding so much attention in that top lane, he effectively has been at half health. Oh, but Shine is going to face check into Crow. Will he tag them with the grasping roots? He does, and they're not going to go on it. Unsure if it was the threat of the fog of war there or what, but they're going to completely back out, return to the most important objective, obviously that dragon on the map. EM is in the area, so he could look for another smite steal.
Right, but this dragon is going down so quickly, so I mean, the Ringo would have to flash over the wall right now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, nice smite from Crow. And the reason why I think the reason why Crow didn't go in and why WY didn't engage with the Zenith Blade or use the Solar Flare was because they had no vision of any other member on the map, and it looks like Suda's going in.
Oh, but here's the Dragon's Descent onto NCT, followed by the culling is locked in place by a nice grasping roots from Shine right there. Gets off decent damage, NCT potting this back up. It looks like HanGong Club. Wow, HanGong Club. HanGong Club is looking for the siege on the mid tower. We do have Minoko and EM on the side looking for a flank cover. Suda has his teleport available, but is across map.
Yeah, so I mean, Suda, good attempt by Suda. It was a long shot for him to get anything out of that, but my stream keeps refreshing. This is so infuriating. So again, HanGong Club is in the solid lead, does retain the solid lead right now. Unfortunately, Suda is just going to get knocked away. I think that's where we are, right?
Yeah, he was trying to lock him up as Victor made his way over there. Suda is a huge problem right now for Minoko.
Yeah, he definitely is.
He can't duel at all, and Minoko is effectively just trying everything he can to stall the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Suda. I mean, the thing is, the thing about the situation is that Victor's effectiveness is, as time rolls on, Victor's effectiveness is slowly going to wane and grow smaller and grow smaller. So what we're really worrying about right here is how soon AcFun, despite this deficit, if they can at all try to get some early advantages. And the problem, the reason why that's hard is because not only does CK have fairly reliable wave clear on the Scatter the Weak combo, as well as using the Dark Spheres, but BML also built the extremely early static Shiv. So and BML is extremely fed right now, so they have a lot of wave clear and engage tools. And that's the other thing, even if AcFun had the confidence to go siege some kind of objective, barring that they knew the members of HanGong Club couldn't clear waves effectively. Just the initiation potential. The initiation range from the culmination of HanGong Club's skills is so large. Is so long-standing, so far-reaching. Sorry, that really you can't get anywhere near a turret because you're just gonna get obliterated in a few seconds.
Definitely that Syndra stun, the big playmaker right there. And again, back in this top lane, Minoko just stalling out Suda. He gets decent damage back, but that Blade of the Rune King really shredding through the now completed Roa into his Spirit Visage. Have to wonder why he's going for the magic resistance. Obviously, he gets the synergy with his drink on that Spirit Visage, but it's not protecting him against Suda.
Yeah, and
and typically, like, BV is kind of the more cost-effective MR item.
Right, and I mean, the question is, what if you're a member of AcFun and it looks like... See, I mean, that's what I was about to say. So if you're a member of AcFun, the question is, where do you go from here? And obviously the pick or the surprise initiation is your best bet, and that was what
they were looking for, that submarine in the middle lane.
Basically, that was what EM tried to do. He went into his on the hunt, but fortunately for the members of the HanGong Club, they were intuitive enough to know that if EM was not on the board, then they should be wary of that potential submarine initiation, and so they decide to back off and put even more damage on this turret. So things going very well for HanGong Club right now. It looks like they should be trying to snowball this advantage, despite the fact that it also seems like, and that problem will be stymied by the fact that BML is now with the team and he has a static shift, but then this team also has problems clearing waves. So, advantages and disadvantages for both sides here.
HG now grouping back up into this mid lane. As I say that, they're now looking, hey guys, let's go share a race, waiting for the next minion wave to come back around. But they've been in this mid lane for this attrition war over the mid-tier tower for quite a bit now. It's a little under half health. Meanwhile, in the bottom, a lot of free XP going down. Looks like Suda's wandering his way that direction. Possibly posturing for this dragon that's about to come up in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, and
it's really just it's a stagnant game right now.
Right.
A very low kill game as well. It's not for lack of trying either. It's I want to say superior ward vision, a lot of intuitiveness from both these teams. I've actually been very impressed with how well they've been able to read the threats across the board.
It's basically the ebb and flow of whether NCT and EM can combo for a really nice command shockwave combination, really nice command shockwave wombo combo, or whether WY can find the correct initiation and be able to completely stun lock, one or two members of the enemy team. So there's that really interesting dynamic right now, since both of these teams have such reliable forms of engage that they have to dodge everything right now.
Suda also taking enough resources, has Victor and Minoko both in this bottom lane. Victor trying to get back around to his team, but there is a numbers advantage in mid lane if HanGong Club want to look for the engagement. Looks like they're just backing out safely though, looking for this dragon about to spawn in 8 seconds. Suda also in position for that. Oh, but the Baron being started. Shine has his plants on. It takes a lot of damage. That was a little overzealous, but the read from HanGong Club is, you know what, they left mid. Let's take down their tower. Let's transition to the next global objective.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what HanGong Club should be doing. They can sense the Baron being cut out, but Baron being started again. This is really interesting, especially since the members of HanGong Club have no vision. But it looks like they might want to set a pick right now.
Crow has an inkling, sends his flag over the wall, but a nice stall from AcFun. Are they gonna get underneath? But no, I think Shine gave away the vision on the flag. And he's going to go ahead and re-engage.
Yeah, and wow, I mean, it looks like HanGong Club have no idea that this is going on. They have to have some kind of inkling. I mean, they're just posturing around the map. If by the time that Y checks this, they're not going to be able to contest anything. So, yeah, they might as well just stick and get the dragon because they know that they can't get the Baron. A really, really smart Baron build from AcFun to know that they have vision in they have pink ward vision in the brush to sweep at the appropriate places around the map and know that if they dodged the flag toss, the javelin tossed from Crow, if they showed, initially showed that they weren't doing the Baron, then they just had 100%. Wow, what a really good move.
I know. I'm so in shock. It was a beautiful play of information there because they had the ramp warded that they were able to see Jarvan coming over, and then because he checked with his flag, they knew for sure that it wasn't warded, so to make that call, they didn't need a pink ward to procure the Baron vision. That was amazing. Fantastic Baron call from AcFun. I froze.
Yeah, I mean, this really, and I froze as well, so there's a problem.
It's on their end.
Yeah, hopefully the stream unfreezes, but what a really, really good... I mean, okay, so first of all, HanGong Club should have had that area warded, but besides that fact, what a really nice heads-up play from AcFun. You don't see those kinds of Barons in the Chinese scene, and hopefully the stream figures itself out. But the Chinese chat is spamming flowers right now, so that might be that might be what they see to. God, this is so frustrating because I really want to see what happens next. But AcFun has a lot of options right now because they have so much wave clear on their team. they can assault any turret they want to. And you know, as much as I talked about the Corki becoming irrelevant in the late game, it's still 31 minutes into the game. So I think they have a 4 to 5 minute window to rack up a lot of kills and or a lot of turrets, and try to, you know, start making the appropriate moves to close out this game. And hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, we can get this game back to you.
Well, I refreshed and I got it back. I'm at 32-41. So let me know when you get back in, Hubo.
Okay, sure.
I suggest just refreshing the page. Worked on the first time for me, but now it is
32-54.
Exactly,
right.
You're about a second ahead of me. So we're 33 minutes into this game. Even though AcFun just got a completely beautiful, uncontested Baron, they are technically still down in gold, 48k to 50k in favor of the HanGong Club. 2 to 4, very low kill game. I feel like this has all been about vision control.
Yeah, but I mean, with the way that both these combinations work, if AcFun lands the correct, you know, if AcFun, you know, chains their crowd controls, chains their abilities correctly, it doesn't really matter what the gold lead is. And the same actually goes for HanGong Club, even if to a lesser extent. Also, I'd like to point out the fact that BML, this is 4.10. BML did go with a very, very popular Chinese, you know, Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Bloodthirster build, even though a lot of Chinese players actually prefer to build the Infinity Edge and Static Bloodthirster first before the Static Shiv. So, I mean, I guess, you know, BML understood that his team didn't have a lot of wave clear, and you know, you need wave clear for sieges like this.
Definitely going for that late game Lucian build, but the flash in on NCT, the Syndra only drop, followed by the Cataclysm, a Strangle Thrones and a Shockwave on one person, but NCT is still alive. Suda, Dragon Descent across the team, picks up 1 kill, 2 kill. HanGong Club now still on the charge, it's just Victor left. Minoko trying to get into position here. Actually, he's right next to him. I don't know why he disappeared on my screen, but he's back now.
Yeah, I mean, and that flash in the blade barely misses. I mean, Minoko wasn't there for that fight at all, and that explosive cast is going to do nothing. Suda is very tanky right now. He can tank enough damage before this turret wave starts to come in, and their carries are relatively safe right now. I mean, I did not know that BML was that low on health. So it looks like the members of HanGong Club are going to back out now, but again, that's another positioning issue, right? We mentioned before, no matter what the goal lead was, if you land the correct set of initiation, or if you land the correct set of abilities together, then no amount of gold would be able to overcome like the instantaneous burst from both of these teams. So really good on the members of HanGong Club to ensure to completely burst out NCT's Orianna and make sure that NCT panicked and used the command shockwave on only one person. Suda was able to get there for the cleanup kill, and then, you know, on the other side of the map, on the other side of the fight, BML was just completely destroying the composition of AcFun.
So Baron buff effectively timed out and wiped off of all of the AcFun members. So HanGong Club, a little bit of breathing room right there. Still have the gold advantage, 5k in their favor, 56 to 51. Now 2 to 7. So a lot of that gold advantage is basically in kills. And if you look across the board where the kill gold is on the team, it's on Sudo in that top lane, and of course BML on his Victor on his Lucian 3-1 and 4.
I mean, well, BML is on his Obama, if you want to go by names. Again, we're coming to another weird stagnant dynamic because, you know, a bunch of members of AcFun still do, well, no, none of the members of AcFun have the Baron buff anymore, but the gold lead is relatively, it's not as bad as it could be. You know, it's, the scoreline says 6,000 gold, but I'm going to keep stressing the fact that if, you know, the members of AcFun, if the members of AcFun land all their skills correctly, then the goal lead won't matter at all. So it really is a question of who can avoid the other team and who can land their own, you know, their own set of initiation tools. And I said before, it's like an ebb and flow of initiation. You're moving back and forth, trying to get the proper positioning to get the best team fights you can, and that's created a really interesting dynamic for this game.
Of course, both teams just looking for who's going to get that initiation. A lot of tools on either side here. AcFun doing what they can to just hold off the anti-siege. I believe it is a true blue buff this time on NCT, so a little bit of breathing room right there. Meanwhile, in this top lane, Minoko still having a lot of trouble with Sudai. He's pretty much completely surpassed him, 347 to 306, so a hefty CS advantage as well as a kill advantage, and those items cannot be underestimated. That Phage, I don't know if that's going to go for Trinity or not, but if so, that would certainly spell doom.
Yeah, I mean, in the event that the members of HanGong Club wanted to dive a turret in the near future, which they very well might do, you know, Minoko has to be so on point with his Gragas ultimates. I mean, they need to give this AD carry a chance, despite the fact that, honestly, you know, Suda is 2-0-3. He has a Randuin's Omen. He has, you know, Merc Treads. He has a Fate. I think he's going to build a... What is he building on his Shyvana? A Trinity Force?
That's what I'm saying. His playstyle, it wouldn't surprise me. Look at how much damage that he can just return back onto this guy. Oh, but he's actually cast straight into Victor. The Bork is popped, trying to make a clean getaway, but Shine comes around, drags the grass, or excuse me, jukes the grasping roots, and meanwhile his team underneath him has started the Baron.
This is free right now.
Suda trying to get around, but it's now been spotted out, so they don't have a ward on the pit, but they do have the bubble. Solar Flare hits onto Victor. The Baron has been completely left alone. Actually, it falls to the Culling. VML now in the backside of the fight. It's a complete disaster. So many members of AcFun dropping left and right. CK and VML completely left untouched in the backline, shredding through AcFun's health. It's just Victor left alive. And there is the clean ace in favor of the HanGong Club as they march down mid.
And that was a triple kill, I believe, for Suda. What a really, first of all, what a really clean initiation. As they finish out this game, what an incredibly clean initiation coming out from Y. I mean, his solar flares have been on point this game, and that was something like a 4-man solar flare right there. You know, really good. You know, Suda kind of applies his global taunt. You know, we talked about his items. He was able to tank a whole bunch of damage. You know, it gave his team enough time to do Baron. Additionally, another really key point about that fight was that Shine completely missed his Stranglethorns. It just